Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the October 12th meeting of the Select Board at 7 o'clock. We are meeting virtually in light of the COVID-19 pandemic. Let's see. Call to order at 7 o'clock. Meetings of the Berlin Select Board are generally recorded for transmission on both the Berlin Cable Television Access Channel and YouTube. Your voice, image, and/or telephone number may be recorded. All right, and for those wondering where our third select board person is, somewhere over the ocean. There you go. All right, so first up is the approval of the October 4th, 2021 minutes.
Okay, I can make a motion to approve. I believe you may have seen my couple of changes that I sent to Mary and Margaret, and it's in the folder.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll make the motion.
And I will second your motion. We'll start off with a vote. Stone eye.
Keefe aye.
There you go. All right. We are down to correspondence. Is there anything, Margaret?
Correspondence, I think it's, we got a few more letters of support for 19 Carter, but in addition to that, I might as well mention that Chris and I will be attending the Board of Directors meeting later this week, to talk with them about possible solutions.
Okay. All right, so I know that Chief is on at 7:10. Is he in the audience? Oh, he is. Let's bring him on up to the front. See if he's ready.
Did you ask about general public?
Oh, no. Oops. Sorry. General public comments. Anyone in our audience? Please raise your hand. If you have a general public comment, we'll call on you. All right. See, this is why Chris is around. She keeps me honest. All right. Chief Ken Clark, come on down.
He may not expect to come on this early. And furthermore, Margaret, I can't promote him, but I can open his microphone. That's why there's only his name.
All right, let me see if he'll give me an option. It gave me an option, but I don't see him being promoted at the moment. So
He's probably finishing.
Yeah.
Here.
Oh, you know
Probably.
what? He doesn't have a camera. He's on a phone.
Ah,
well, maybe that's why. So maybe if we just ask him to unmute. So to unmute, is it *6?
Wow, I've asked him to unmute. I keep clicking on it. You know what? So he's got his name up there, but it's not.
he's probably not here. Yeah, because we still have 10 minutes.
Okay.
All right. So Margaret, you want to scoop down and give us the abbreviated version of your town administrator report?
Yes, I'll try to keep it abbreviated. First of all, I received information from the Board of Health today that Berlin has reached its 75% vaccination rate, which is really very good, and only 2 new cases this week. So things are getting better, we hope. So to my, I did upload my TA report with just some bulleted highlights here, and I also attached, I uploaded the draft budget calendar guide that the Finance Committee went through last week, just for your reference, so you can kind of get a sense of how we're going to be moving through the budget process this year. Under personnel and HR, the police chief resume screening team has completed its resume screening. Again, we had 5 participants in the resume screening process. We had Chris for the Select Board. We had Sue Terrian for the Personnel Committee. We had 1 resident, Marshall Tate, who participated, and we had 2 police chiefs from non-abutting towns. So kind of 1 from each side of the state. So everybody submitted their rankings by the end of the weekend, and I'll be meeting with MRI tomorrow regarding next steps, interviews, and assessment center. 1870 Town Hall Manager position was posted today. Can't wait to fill that. So things are starting to get busy. People want to use the building. It's very nice.
Good.
So my hope is that it's got to be advertised until I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, the 22nd, October 22nd. So my hope is that I have an appointment recommendation at the board's October 25th meeting. If not, then November 1. Highway laborer Matt Teixeira starts next Monday, October 18th. Public Safety Administrative Assistant Abigail Viana starts Monday, October 25th. And Temporary Conservation Agent Maddie Vandenboom starts November 1. The COA van driver. So that position is vacant now. There is no one holding that position currently. Last Wednesday, the Personnel Committee voted to update the advertisement to a rate of $17.07 per hour to try to attract applicants. The COA part-time wages line has more than sufficient funding for this hourly rate increase due to the inactivity of the van through much of the year. Traffic Safety Advisory Committee met last week. We discussed the newly delivered 4 mobile, I said mobile radar signs. It's mobile.
It's mobile. Phonetically, it's
Mobile.
mobile.
Parking regulations and possible future amendments to alleviate impacts of banning any overnight parkings. That's how it's worded now. No overnight parking allowed at any time on any town way. There are going to be, some impacts on places like Carterville and maybe other areas of town that have narrow streets and people sometimes have to park alongside the street. So that will be coming in the future. Also recommendations on the placement of signs. Those recommendations will be brought to the select board. I'm just going to jump through a couple more. There have been street sign requests. We did discuss some of those. I understand there are 2 new street sign requests that have come in. There was a request to investigate adding guardrails to the lower portion of South Street. Fred is going to be looking into this for further discussion. We reiterated the need to fund design and engineering for Complete Streets project, in addition to some larger infrastructure projects that we may have to do. And I'm going to be attending a Route 62 corridor project planning meeting with CMRPC, and I will report back to the board and Traffic Safety Advisory Committee. And finally, we did review the composition of the Traffic Safety Advisory Committee to make it more reflective of individuals who have jurisdiction on the townways. So for example, moving the building commissioner, but possibly adding a school designee to talk about, mobility to the school. And then finally, the Coronavirus Relief Fund closeout report is due December 3rd. There's going to be absolutely no more spending from that, and we will have to return remaining funds to the Commonwealth. And that's going to close out CVRF. Then we'll be switching over to ARPA, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this later tonight with the Council on Aging and Social Services Director position, the expansion of duties, which is eligible for ARPA funding. That's all I got. Oh, no, I have one more thing. Sorry. Today an email came in from Metro West Collaborative Development from Stephanie regarding the refinancing of affordable housing mortgages. I think I forwarded it to you. Not sure I uploaded it. It only came today. Not sure I uploaded it, but I think I forwarded it. So I really wanted to discuss with the board about the possibility of allowing administrative approvals of these requests to shield sensitive information, names and addresses of the, of certain homeowners and other sensitive information from open meetings. That's what Stephanie had recommended. The board doesn't have to act on this tonight, but it is a pending refinance. So I'll leave it to you as to whether or not you would like to shift to administrative approvals.
I have no problem with that. I think it's really, it does keep it at a slower pace when we have to wait for a meeting and that kind of thing. So I would have no problem with that.
I'm in agreement with that.
Okay.
So
So
you
would
need a
you both?
motion?
Yes, that would be really helpful. If you just approve that, I can get this signed and out.
So moved.
You realize it's a
That work?
go-to, it's a
Does that work?
go-to of, yeah, it's a go-to of the board when we don't know exactly what to say. Let's just put that out there.
Too loud.
Seconded.
Worked.
It works.
Yeah.
Seconded. All right. Got a motion in a second. Stone eye.
Key-fi.
There you go, Margaret. All good to go.
Thank you very much. We'll take care of this tomorrow.
Can I just add, I went to the Traffic Safety Advisory
yep.
Committee also. And the bylaws will be needed for the no Jake breaks and the
Yep.
truck exclusions. And I think you covered just about everything, Margaret. Guardrails, they're gonna look into whether guardrails are needed on South Street near the alpaca farm. And Margaret will be the acting chair.
Oh, God. Short term, acting, non-voting.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Margaret. Margaret, appreciate that. And there he is. It's our one and only Chief Kenneth Clark. Chief Clark, you got to unmute. There he is.
I apologize for running a little late. We were out on training down the middle school doing vehicle extrication. So I got back, I got kind of caught up in the moment down there and I looked at my phone. I'm like, oh, gotta hustle back.
Don't worry. Hey, you know, if you ever need a body to like be pulled out of some burning wreckage, I'll volunteer. Don't set me on fire, but just pull the body out. So.
Yeah, you know, they actually got some those real mannequins you see on TV. Someone had
Really?
some and they didn't get picked up by the state, so they donated to us just today.
Oh,
Those
that's
ones
very
you see-
cool.
Yeah, it is really cool. So,
All right, Chief, what you got for us?
okay, I got my my monthly report for the month of September. There was 79 incident responses for the month. I'll go through them quickly here. Any questions, just fire away. There were 23 fire-related responses, 43 EMS responses. The ambulance has been busy.
Mm,
7 motor vehicle accidents, 1 public assistance request, 1 assist the police, a vehicle fire on the highway we dealt with one day, a couple of brush fires for there, minor ones, and then 1 hazmat response, which I think we shared one night at one of your past meetings on at Central and Oak. It was muriatic acid. So we took care of that. That was kind of like once we found out what it was, it's kind of an easy one. At first it was an unknown. And it was still fuming when I got up here from Hopkins. So it's like, we gave it the German Shepherd look saying, oh, wonder what's going on here. But I found out it was muriatic acid and we could take care of that. So it's like at the operational level, which we do here. So that was good. Any questions on the monthly activity there?
No, you guys have been busy. I mean, I work from home and I hear the sirens going off all the time behind me.
It's crazy some days. It's like,
Yeah.
yep, I think one day last week there was 6 or 8 before even the end of the day shift. So it was like
Wow.
just one of those days. It happens and it's like they go in spurts like that. A quick update on the AFG competitive grant process. Our initial 54,000 request was finalized at 45,849.52. And I found out from my counterpart there at FEMA that of all the people that participated in the grant request, only 23% of the people got it. So I feel good for the town of Berlin. We get some really good money to spend on some really good equipment, which needs replacement, and it's aging, and the time is just right to replace it. So we're good with that. And moving on, some training coming up. And this should help the town's insurance rate, and the TA is much more advanced than I am in this on the MIAA, but I guess we get some credit or points for doing defensive driving, and they got the simulator coming in for 2 nights in February of 22. So it's a good thing to do during the winter when it's cold out. So I have it inside here, and the personnel will go out and use the simulator, and they have it. The simulator is able to do ambulances and trucks, so it's not just a car one, which is good for everybody, but it doesn't really pertain to what we do on a day-to-day basis here. So that was a good part of that one that I found out for the first time. We didn't really have any huge significant incidents, but a lot of like critical medical ones, but it's like, those get handled fairly quickly, and it's like, but some serious stuff on that end that still makes you think and to pray for people when you run into those things. So it's like, and then I think we're still just below that 3 responses a day. So I put in the numbers here, as we had, as of 5 October, there was 668, and I think we're up above 680 now as of today, some incidents that we did. So that's building up quick. A quick update on the new tanker pumper that we just got put into service a couple of Thursdays ago. The vehicle participated in its initial fire district drill, which kind of doesn't pit equipment against equipment, but it definitely shows when you have operational strengths, they come out at a drill like that where you can unload the water quick in anything that you need to do, dumping it, pumping it, whatever you need. So that showed really well. I got a lot of positive feedback from a lot of the chiefs that were there, and the town of Berlin should be proud of that purchase, and it will make the town safer for a long, long time. That's a 20-year truck, so it will really be rolling and making a difference for a long time. And 3,000 gallons goes a long way in the street. So it's like, if you apply it right. So it's, I'm very happy with it. It was well along when I got here in 19, but the committee did a really, really good job. And now it's in service and the people have been training on it. And I'm very happy with the operational flexibility. It's kind of like a toolbox with a full toolbox. You know what I mean? All the tools are in it to be able to, whatever you need to do, we can do it. So I'm happy with that. So.
And we got rid of other trucks, didn't we? Two
We
other trucks?
actually will get rid of 2. One goes back to the federal surplus program, the old tender.
Mhm.
And then one I have to coordinate with the TA to try to get it on municipal bid. And when I'm waiting to have someone come in and give me like evaluate it and see what it's worth, and then we can get it on that. We had really good luck with a used piece of apparatus that we did. I think it raised a lot of eyebrows when we found out how much we got for that used piece that was in really, really poor shape, but someone could use all the parts and drove it home to New York. You know what I mean? So it's like, it was interesting. So it is what it is. The fire prevention activity report, due to a busy week last week, that wasn't gotten out. I just received that late this afternoon. So I'm going to kick that along. I got to review it. I'll kick that along to Mary tomorrow, and she can share that with you. That's a good report from the fire marshal that tells you what's going on in the day-to-day fire prevention world of the town of Berlin. And it's kind of interesting. I like reading it, and I always have to go and ask, where's this or where's that? And I'm learning. Every time I read it, I learn something more about the community. So it's helpful. And I'm sure that it's long. There's a lot of like fire prevention stuff in there that's not really the most exciting stuff in the world, but it's like there's a lot of good information there if you want to take it in. On the emergency management update, I'd like to thank Chris for reviewing that and coming up with some good ideas on that initial draft to change. Thank you, Chris. And I haven't physically made those changes yet, but I got them written down here on a piece of paper on what page I got to go to in there in the master to do it. Thank you for taking your time. And they were
suggestions, just
yeah,
suggestions.
no, I can tell you, it's not your first rodeo with the way you wrote it in. So it's thank you. It's like, you know what the stuff is supposed to be called. And I'm like kind of like
That's
the newer
okay.
guy. So, you know what I mean? You straighten me out. Thank you. So it's like, so that's all moving. And I sent that promulgation statement up to you guys at some point along the way. We got to be comfortable with that plan, then sign off on it, and it's implemented. And I can send that back to the state so they can go on kind of like on the state. They have a whole website where all those go to, and we use them when we have to, and go from there. Then on the EMS collections working group, we can see that the billing and the credits for the month of September. It's down a little bit, but that's mostly my fault because we didn't get up and running as fast as I thought we would with the new prior to getting the new admin in and then Sharon leaving. So that was kind of like we're learning on the run here, some of the stuff that we took for granted what was getting done, and we have to kind of like pick up the slack there. So it's like, but it's going now. It's been going for week and a half really strong, and I'm comfortable with it. Kevin Colomey is the person now as the EMS coordinator who's doing that work when he works his night per diem shift. So it's in good hands with Kevin. So he'll get it done and get it done really, really well. But that just has the totals to date there. We billed for 124,000 plus so far this year. And we've brought in just shy of 60 there, 57, 489. So it's getting better. And I have to be honest, and it's we haven't had a lot of time to take the past statute stuff off the thing. Just been crazy. We're like it's hard to get everyone together to get it done. So it's like we're working on that, but we just haven't been able to come up with any amounts that to go on there to update you and keep moving that forward on some of the older accounts that we have. But it's moving. So it's like we're trying. It's not the lack of want. It's just the lack of time. But that's kind of like. You have some questions? I like the question part, but it's like, that's kind of like all we got. It's been busy. The guys are out training hard now. They're ripping cars to pieces down by the salt bin by the middle school. So they kind of T-boned a couple with a front end loader, and they have to take the roof off and open the doors and all that stuff you do on the street. So it's like, it's really, really good training. And I had to like pull myself away from it to go. It's kind of like my bread and butter stuff I've done for a long time. I enjoy it immensely. Nope, that's what we got so far. Can I help you with any questions you may have?
No, I know that you're jonesing to get back to it, so I have no questions. I asked
Oh,
mine.
yeah.
Mhm.
No, I'm all set too, Chief.
Okay,
Good to see you.
same. Hope everybody's healthy. Hope, doing well, getting into the cold weather now, cooler weather now. So it's like,
Hey, Chief,
you guys
for
gotta
next year.
come.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No,
You
go. Nope.
Ladies first. You guys gotta come and visit on Fridays. And sometimes we have a little visitor that's in my office here with 4 legs that comes to visit. Sometimes
With
she stays
4
in a
legs.
crate. Yeah. And I'll bail out to go on a call or something and leave her in a crate. So, but it's a little, I think she was just 12 weeks old, but it's like,
Oh,
it's a cream golden.
Oh,
And it's like, she's really, really, really soft. And it's like, got a really nice mellow personality. Doesn't really fit Miles very good, but with all the boys, but she's learning.
She's our Friday therapy.
There you go.
oh.
Yeah. Therapy dog. Yeah. When I got to go upstairs to go to, whatever, take the checks up, she takes a little walk upstairs and walks through the building. I think she already owns the place. So like, yeah.
We'll train her like a Saint Bernard dog. Just stick things around her neck and like send her into the offices.
Yep. Cold beers and stuff. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Hey, so this time next year, Chief, or probably a little bit before, if you guys, need any help in trying to put some shirts together for breast cancer awareness, I'm happy to help. I bought Sterling's for that, and I shared a picture with Margaret. On the back it has Rosie the Riveter.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
It says, it says, like together we can or something like
Yeah.
that. So, it says Sterling. I'll put a piece of tape on the back. So it
It's all
doesn't
right.
say
No, it is
Sterling.
what it is. The
I know,
cause is the
but-
cause.
Yes, it is. And that's why I did it, because all the money went to
Yeah.
Dana-Farber. So, next year, if you guys need a helping hand or someone to do some of the legwork, I will absolutely put up my hand now, a
Yep.
year in advance to get shirts and things out there in support of the town and in
Yep.
support
I
of
got
this
my
cause.
little, like, right on my vest.
Oh,
You know?
yeah.
So it's like, nope, it's like, I was kind of slack on that. I didn't get the order in soon enough to get them at the beginning of the month. They wouldn't have come till the 2nd or 3rd week. And I didn't think anyone would want to wear them for just a week.
Yep.
But I wear mine Fridays. That's like we wear that red shirt usually on Friday to remember the troops.
Mhm.
In October, I just switch it out, wear my pink one. So it's like.
Okay. All right. Well, next year, just give me a holler. I'm
Thank
just
you.
up the road and happy to come down and help.
Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you,
All right.
ladies.
All right. Have a lovely night. Safe drive home, Chief.
Also, going back over the school.
Yeah,
10-4,
it's
take
shocking.
care.
All right. I'll talk to you.
all right.
Thank you, Chief.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, he's like a little kid. So would I be, like breaking up stuff. Absolutely. All right. We are down to budget letter to Berlin Boylston Regional School School District as amended by the FinCom on 10/6.
Okay, I provided you the red line that the Finance Committee worked on last week. And I think it looks good. They reversed a couple of numbered paragraphs or sections. And that is essentially the biggest thing they did. And they set a hard December 31st deadline for preliminary budget estimates, rather than as early as, generally as early as possible. Today, I added just one fiscal year of noted data regarding budget growth, and that's up near the top of the letter. So it's just FY22, FY21 to FY22 data, where our total operating budget growth, including education assessments, went, actually, that doesn't make it clear. It's our budget actually declined. So our total budget growth was negative 0.6%, negative $80,176. And the FY21 to 22 school district operating assessment growth was $307,908 or plus 5.2%. So that's really just to note, the increases in the context of Prop 2.5. So I just wanted to put something there, if you're okay with that.
Did Finance Committee decide whether it should be, the increase should be for the entire budget or?
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
just for
They
the
said,
individual schools?
yep, present an operating budget for FY 2023 that contains no more than a 2.5% increase in overall operational spending.
Overall.
The Finance Committee decided it would be their total budget as opposed to assessments.
Okay, I just, sometimes one or the other of the schools will take a hit because of that. And
So do you want to note district-wide? You present a district-wide operating budget? Would you like to do that so that none of the schools are disproportionately impacted? I mean, we could do.
Does district-wide mean each school?
District-wide would mean all schools. Total operating budget for all schools combined. We could just phrase it like that if that makes more sense.
So Berlin, Boylston, Assabet,
No, Berlin, Boylston,
Boylston.
and Tohoto.
Tohoto.
and Tohoto.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you think, Peg? I just, it just seems like, history repeats itself every year where
One
usually
school, yeah,
Berlin Memorial will take the hit
yep.
because it's easier to reduce that school, sometimes rather than the high school. I don't know. Now that it's regionalized, it may be a little bit different, but
It may, but you know what, I mean, we're trying something different this year and giving them a number that they have to stick to, so they can't come back and say, here's 10, here's 8, no, here's 2.5. So yeah, Margaret,
Well,
if you can put in there for regional.
Yeah. For Chris, I know what you're
saying. Yeah.
intending here.
And also the fact that, whatever we want to raise our budget, we don't want them to supersede so much so that it hurts the other departments.
Yeah. All right, so here's how I've worded it right now. Presented district-wide operating budget for FY23 that contains no more than 2.5% increase in overall operational spending.
Well, that probably does mean all 3 schools, doesn't it?
If you
It
say
does,
regional.
it does, but you also don't want the elementary school or Tohoto disproportionately impacted by
Right.
significant budget increase. Okay, then 2.5%, and that does not disproportionately impact
Any one school.
our elementary school or the high school either. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Does
Or you
this
could
need to
just
go
say
back?
any of the schools.
Yeah, does this need to go back to finance?
Finance is not meeting again until I think it would be too much of a delay. Well, I
Okay.
think I will I'll reach out to Stan, the chair, and get his thoughts on this change in number 1.
Okay.
And sign it. They've already voted it and authorized him to sign, so.
Okay.
Do we need to do that the same for us? That was a well-constructed sentence. Do that the same for us.
You would have to do the same for you. Disproportionately impacts, okay.
So Chris, do you want to make a meeting? Oh, I should have just stayed on the couch. Do you want to make a motion to allow me to be the sole signature for, well, Margaret, how did finance put it so that Stan is their sole signature guy?
Yep, to approve the letter and to authorize the chair to sign on behalf of the finance committee, so it'll be
So
authorize
moved.
you to sign.
And seconded. There you go. All right, motion in a second. Stone eye.
Keith, aye.
Okay,
Let me know.
all right,
let me
I'll
know-
run that, that little bit of editing by Stan.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep. Let me know and I'll pop down and give it a sign.
Okay.
All right. And thank you, finance, for doing that. Appreciate your partnership. All right. Next up is the November 8th, 2021 special town meeting warrant. Review and finalize the articles, sign and direct mailing and posting.
So, you received the legal reviewed draft today, and including the comments and the red lines from town council. I had a conversation with Janelle on Friday regarding the changes in the intent of these articles. So Attorney Brian Riley has addressed the alcohol license article.
Mhm.
Janelle had a clear understanding of the third modification article, and there was something here. No, I discussed that with her. I did some research back into the development agreement. Phase 4 and phase 5 work were both addressed in the development agreement. And I believe it was the second modification that actually bumped up their deadlines to the earlier of 4 years from the date of execution, which was in 2017, December 2017, or completion of the 380th square foot of developed area. And that is why the phase 4 and phase 5 projects are in here. They would both otherwise expire on December 11th of this year.
But did they also understand that they were asking to have the option to pay money rather than fix those areas?
Yes. And I went over that with her. In fact, I read her the excerpt from the development agreement. And so she wanted clarification on the equivalent compensation piece. And so she was fine with leaving that in as is.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that, that was addressed too.
Yes, yeah. Trying to walk through this here. Article 1 is self-explanatory. I don't think they made any changes to this. Make sure I've got, okay, so Article 2 only adds Juneteenth and adds the suffix junior to Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Personnel Committee is fine. They met last week too. They are fine with this revision, understanding that there will likely be additional edits to the bylaw as they move through the policies. So the personnel bylaws are pretty extensive. So there might be other sections of the bylaw that need to be updated at a later time. Article 4. Okay, so I think I just went over this. This is the alcohol, the additional section 15, all alcohol licenses. This would provide 2, and they would be generally provided to the town, not with specified geographic areas, just available for any qualified applicants. And the select board, through the adoption of policies and conditions on licenses, can establish restrictions to prevent prevent transferring licenses to, say, for example, establishments that are not in existence yet or
Mhm.
don't have 4 walls and a roof. Next one, cemetery commission regulations. So town council did propose a few edits to this in the language. These do in fact require approval by the town at town meeting. And so this requires that the cemetery commission file their rules and regulations with the town clerk, so people can actually see those before they're voted. Special article closeout. These are pretty self-explanatory too. Nothing changes there. Now for the fiscal year 2022 supplemental capital budget. The work on the old fire station roof remains unclear, or the scope of work remains unclear. It's possible that there's a hole on one part of the roof and it's leaking to another part of the roof, and the roof doesn't have to be replaced in its entirety. So it may only require repair, but North Star has come out once and they haven't come out again with a written estimate. So I'm proposing removing this and proceeding with an IFB over the winter, proceeding with an IFB for the town office's roof and adding this roof work as an addendum to that IFB. So it could be an optional piece rather than a requirement of the work. This would not only give us an idea as to the cost, but it also might allow us in May to revise the original article where this was voted to expand the scope to include the old fire station roof if funding permits.
Do we want to do it now, or can we wait? Do we have any period of time where we could wait to see if someone comes out and says, we were correct, we think it only needs a repair? No?
I didn't get a sense of the timeline for them to come back out and really identify whether it's a repair versus replace. So
Okay.
I hate to hold this up, waiting for.
What, that's what I'm asking is, so does this have to go off to the printer like tomorrow or something?
Well, if the board votes it tonight, we're going to be preparing to post the warrant and mail it. So we've got to
Okay.
get this mailed as soon as possible to make sure that folks get it in time.
All right.
The next.
Or you could even pass over that article.
That's
Rather
true.
than-
If the capital planning, so the capital planning committee met last week too. I think everyone met last week, if I'm not mistaken.
You were
It was a
here every
busy
night,
meeting
right?
week, busy meeting week.
Yeah.
So they did not take any action on this because of the blank in cost. Now, I had calculated based on square footage of that building versus this building and the estimate for this building, that it might cost about $50,000 to $60,000 to replace that roof. But that's just not good enough. It's not a written estimate. It's just
Right.
a calculation based on square footage. So we could capital planning committee is meeting Thursday night. Maybe this can go to them if we do have a written estimate by then and they take action, we include it. If not, it gets removed. Okay,
Okay, that's only what?
that's Thursday night,
Yeah,
the night after next. Yeah,
Yeah.
2 nights. They've got 2 nights to give us a price.
Which isn't gonna happen, but
Oh,
okay.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Community Preservation Act proposed project articles. So town council made a number of revisions to these in the language. I sent them off to the chair today, to Tim, to get his okay on the edits that were made by town council to these articles. I am proposing at this point on Article 13, those run Article 8 through Article 12. I am proposing at this time that Article 13, the acceptance of Mass General Law, Chapter 32, Section 42B, be deferred to a future town meeting or be pulled off of this town meeting warrant, so we can get more clarity on cost impacts to the town. Time just didn't allow didn't allow us to determine the number of eligible personnel and the cost impacts on our Worcester County assessment. And then the last one, this Public Safety Special Purpose Stabilization Fund. Capital Planning Committee has not voted a recommendation on this. I know previously they supported it. So on Thursday night, we'd know, we'd know with certainty whether the Capital Planning Committee supports this. I also propose eliminating the language from free cash X dollars. I don't intend on recommending that any money be transferred from free cash at this point. The intent here would be to establish seed funding through public safety mitigation funds that we've already received. Any questions on any of the articles?
I don't have any questions on the articles, but are we on for having this special town meeting at Berlin Memorial?
We are.
Mhm.
We are? Okay.
We are. There's been no change.
Okay, I just didn't remember what the response was from the principal.
Yeah.
Did he make it work or something?
He says, yep, it's available. The gym's available. We'll have chairs set up so folks can socially distance to the greatest extent possible, but yes, still scheduled for the gym.
Okay.
So Margaret, just a quick question, whether it's for the announcement booth for rec or any of the work for Bullard House, have RFPs or RFQs been submitted? Are these, I guess I'm asking, are these costs legit? Because I would hate for someone to say, we need $20,000 to do, and then all of a sudden it comes back and the real price tag is 50.
So that's a good question, Peg, because the amounts that are shown here are based on the pre-applications that were received by Community Preservation Committee,
Okay.
not on the detailed application. So they do a pre-application process and then a formal application process where the numbers should be firmed up.
Okay.
These numbers are based on the pre-applications that have been received by the Community Preservation Committee. So
All right, so.
there was a question.
Yeah, so in the event, what's the one that I'm looking at? The land that conservation wants to buy across the street. So let's say, they've asked for what, $490 for that. What happens if it comes back and it's now like making it up, like 870,000? So that 490, where does that go? Does it revert back to the general bucket of money, or is that like forever given to conservation or whatever department for them to work with?
All right, so first of all, the purpose for use of these funds is very specific.
Right.
And so it wouldn't be allowed to be an alternate purpose for use
Okay.
of these funds, okay?
All right.
So what they applied for is what they can spend the money on. They can't spend the money generally on,
Something
any
else.
open
Okay.
space purposes. Regarding returning the money will never be able to revert back to general fund. It could only revert back to the CPA.
Right.
I call it the unrestricted pot of money. But I would have to check on the technical aspects of a project. This could apply to any of the projects.
Right.
Of any project going out for bid or procurement and finding out that there aren't sufficient funds to spend it. So I can ask
All right.
Tim Wheeler that question.
Yeah, I was just curious to where it went, that, if you ask for 10 and you really need 25 and there's no other place to get that 15, where does that 10 go? And yeah, so does it go back to we'll call it the CPA Bank, to come up for next year for now other committees to say, oh, look, here's an extra, money in there that they didn't use last year, I want it. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it frees up for any purpose, but let me run that by Tim and see
Okay.
what the mechanism is for tracking.
All right. And you said you were gonna take out 13?
I propose removing Article 13. Yeah.
Okay,
So Article 14 would move up to Article 13. I just, again, time
don't
didn't
have enough
allow for
information on it.
an investigation of the cost impact.
nope. Okay. I mean, those were my questions. The comments that KP Law made are pretty self-explanatory, so.
Did you want to vote tonight, Margaret, or is this for? You
Let's
want to
vote
wait
to-
till?
Well, the calendar was, and I'll defer to the board on this. It's not, it would be okay for you to wait until the 18th to take a vote to see if there's any new information that comes back and answers to your questions. But we need to mail, we're gonna need to mail this as soon as possible. Let me just count the days here. We have to post 14 days in advance.
Quick, everyone, pull up your calendar. All right.
Yeah.
14 days in advance, meeting on the 8th. Is it 14 days or 14 business days?
We have to post by October 25th. That would be the deadline to post. That's 14 days prior to the special town meeting. The mailing also has to happen at least 14 days prior to. So the 18th, you could still vote it on the 18th, and we just have to be prepared to get it out right after.
You know, I'm okay with voting it tonight. You know, the question that you asked about the roof and whether capital planning takes action on it or not, you know, let's go with Chris's statement that if they don't do anything on it and it's in print, then someone stands up and says, I'd like to move over number 2.
Yep.
So I'd be okay with voting on it tonight. Because again, it allows time that if something happens, whether the conversion doesn't work, if comments don't get accepted, I would rather have a few days on our side to play than to be, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, and it doesn't get out the door.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, can I get a motion?
Motion to approve the warrant as what we've spoken about. Is that good?
Second. That works. Margaret knows us. We all speak in shorthand. Margaret and Mary have figured us out. All right, I second the motion. All right, so lots of discussion, motion in a second. Stone eye.
Keith, aye.
There you go. All right, we're rolling.
All right, get that done.
Staying on track. Oh, I had a question. It'll pick off one of my lists. Are we still on for a coffee talk for the
25th.
Are we doing it on a Monday
No,
night?
not the 25th. It would have been the 28th.
28th? Okay.
I think that's what you had discussed.
Yes, it's the 28th. I
okay.
don't know what time, but I put
We-
6:30.
Yeah, and usually it has been 6:30, hasn't it?
Okay.
Yeah, all right. And we'll do virtual, obviously. Zoom,
guess
Zoom, to
so.
Zoom. Okay.
So
So-
10/28, 6:30 PM.
Yep.
Okay, and the primary topic there will be town meeting warrant?
Yes.
Okay. Then we'll be sure to invite the Community Preservation Committee,
Yes.
Capital Planning Committee, and all other stakeholders.
And anybody else who has something on the warrant.
Correct. All right. Hey, look at that. It picked off one of my questions. Okay. Down to new business. Margaret's notice of intent to appoint Public Safety Administrative Assistant Abigail Viana. Is that how to say her last name? Viana?
Abigail Viana, and she will go by Abby.
Oh,
I'm glad. So Abby will be coming to us with several years of administrative experience and financial support experience in a similar work environment. She actually worked for the Department of Corrections for several years, and most recently as an estimator doing some technical work, financially related. So she's very, very personable, and I'm excited to have the chiefs come and introduce her to the board when she starts.
Okay. Would you like a motion?
Please.
A motion to approve Margaret's notice of intent to appoint Abigail Viana as the Public Safety Administrative Assistant.
I will second that motion. All right, motion and a second, lots of discussion. Thank you to the committees for going out and interviewing this person, and thank you, Abigail, for coming aboard, and welcome to Berlin. Stone eye.
Keith, aye.
There you go. Bloop. All right, next up, traffic controller draft job description. Personnel
Okay.
approved last week.
They did. Personnel approved this last week. This is a good solution to the issues that the town is going to continue to face with police reform and the requirement that all part-time officers be trained in Bridge Academy. This also addresses the issues of workers' comp and 111F for retired part-time and full-time police officers for that matter. So establishing a traffic controller job description would be a general town employee appointment answerable to the police chief or his designee. It would allow the employee to be qualified for workers' comp should the employee get injured, as opposed to 111F. Pay for injured on duty. It also doesn't have an age limit. So individuals over 65 years old who have had to retire under the statute can still actually do some public safety work. So the Personnel Committee voted unanimously to approve the job description last week. And I'll just read the position purpose so for folks to know what this does. Position performs traffic control related work to ensure the smooth and safe flow of traffic when a police officer may not be available, and performs all other work as required.
So I would make a motion to approve the traffic controller job description.
I second it. So motion and a second, lots of discussion. Stone eye.
Keith, aye.
There you go. All
Thank
set
you.
there, Margaret. All right. Next up on the agenda. Oh, that's why Victoria's been hanging around. COA and Social Services Director draft job description, full-time with expanded duties, personnel approved last week. Come on up to the front, Victoria. Come on down.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Victoria.
How are you?
Good.
So yes, so I have been working with Margaret, and what we have proposed to do is to have me expand my roles not only as a council on aging director, but also as a social services director for the town, considering that the services required are more than just those for 60 and older. So we were talking about having me not only continue, this similar duties to what I'm already doing with the council, but continuing my work with public safety, other community organizations, allowing myself to be available for any mental health or counseling needs on a short-term basis, providing any trainings, things of that nature, because I'm an independently licensed social worker for the state already. So that was just what we were looking at, just to best meet the needs of everybody.
Yeah, Victoria did a very good job updating the job description to include real social service functions. And these are reflective of the presentation that she made to the select board on September 7th. So the Personnel Committee voted unanimously to approve this job description with the understanding that this is going to be temporary, funded through ARPA, at least through the remainder of FY22. We have received confirmation that this is an eligible ARPA expense. And we'd estimate that, my preliminary estimate, over the budgeted amount that we already have in the line for the COA director, the estimated ARPA funding required would be $23,841.48 for the period November 1 through June 30th of this year. Victoria, everything that Victoria put into the presentation are things that she's going to work on. She's going to start expanding for Shine counseling. She's going to reach out to families and children to promote healthy households. She is going to continue her advocacy and support for seniors who have, I want to read you a little something from the, whose maybe mental health has been exacerbated by COVID, and this continues. But I just want to read a little excerpt from the U.S. Treasury's final interim rule. It says, in one survey in January 2021, over 40% of American adults reported symptoms of depression or anxiety, up from 11% in the first half of 2019. The proportion of children's emergency department visits related to mental health has also risen noticeably. Similarly, rates of substance misuse and overdose deaths have spiked. Preliminary data from the CDC show a nearly 30% increase in drug overdose mortality from September 2019 to September 2020. So the need is real. It's increased dramatically. And through ARPA funding, it's going to give us some greater capacity to be able to address these social service and mental health needs.
I think it's a great opportunity. I mean, I went to my doctor recently and that was the first thing she said is, how you doing? Of course, in good fashion, Peg's like, good, how are you doing? So, you know, it's something that all physicians are probably asking is truly, how you doing? You know? So Victoria,
I can speak to my experience on this. I mean, mental health has been a problem before COVID and it will continue well after, but I think now people are starting to finally realize that, hey, this is a problem and it needs to be, you know, it needs to have better funding, it needs to have better education and just overall better knowledge. So unfortunately, like I said, it took a pandemic for us to get there, but I mean, the need has just been there. It's just now, thankfully, it's been in the limelight more. So people are starting to be more aware of the need.
well, and I don't think that people are, you know, hiding the fact anymore. You know, people thought, oh, depressed, there's something wrong with you. Yeah, you know, it's more common than you realize, and people are finally finding the courage to stand up and say, I can't take it. You know, the walls are closing in. I need help. And with people like you on their side, on our side, Victoria, we can only continue to do great and wonderful things. So I'm thrilled that this opportunity came through.
Yes. Well, thank you.
So would you like a motion?
Of course she would.
I just want to make clear, just for the public's information, that the ARPA funding that is estimated, it again is an estimate, and the board does have to approve use of ARPA funding to fund this position expansion. And also, this is money that we've already received. This is not going to be funded in anticipation of receiving the money. This is money we already have. A project, ARPA tracking is going to be very, very specific. So we're setting up a project file. This will be a project under ARPA with all the documentation filed with it. So
you want that included in the motion?
No, you don't have to.
Good. Go ahead, because I was waiting for us, so moved.
The approval of the ARPA funding would need to be included.
Okay.
It would need to be included.
It needs to be included, in the motion, because we need to include that as documentation for funding.
Okay, so I would make a motion to approve the Council on Aging and Social Services Director job description, and also the ARPA funding for this position.
Is that good, Margaret?
That's wonderful. Thank you.
You got a second. All right, motion and a second. Lots of discussion. Victoria, again, thank you for doing this. Stone eye.
Keith, aye.
Uh,
All right, Berlin is in your hands. Please let us know if there's anything that we can do to assist.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
Me too. Definitely. Thank goodness we have someone in the house.
I want to drive the bus.
The pay rate is $31.01 an hour, grade 9, step 5.
All right. Seriously, though, Victoria, if there's anything that you need, come back and
Absolutely.
you know, the four of us will figure it out. And thank you for all that you do.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Have a good night.
All right, we are down to board questions, comments, liaison updates, go. All right, I'm going. Okay. questions for you there, Mrs. Nadowitz.
Mhm.
Did you get a chance to follow up on the outlets for the church, church
Where
ground?
did I leave off on that one? I think that I left off on Fred. Fred and Jim can advise, maybe? Let's see.
Okay.
Hold on.
I think that you were gonna talk to them, and I thought I saw one more email that said we might need an electrician. Is there any way that we could use the
Well, let me see
town
if I can
interim
find
electrician?
Mr.
Is,
Montero is in the audience.
Oh. He's like, yeah, I'm out.
Fred said that he'd see what they can find out, so that was the last response.
Okay, all right, so it's with highway. All right. Oh, did we book a date for Meg and Senator Cronin to come? Did we ever lock them in?
I think they were going back and forth about December. Mary, were they, is that what, I think John was said he'd be available in December, and Meg said she could make herself available when John was available.
Or was it after
Something.
the first of the year or something?
Uh,
I think it might have been after the first of the year, wasn't it?
I'm looking.
Oh, maybe it was.
Yeah, Mary originally proposed November 22nd. And then
Said he had another commitment
Yeah.
each Monday night.
yep, until
the second
December.
Week of December.
Mhm.
Perhaps we could schedule a legislative update right after the new year at a select board meeting.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right, then we'll schedule something in January.
So that'd be January 3rd.
Well, or sometime in
I
January.
literally.
Yeah. Might
All
want
right.
to
We'll
give
shoot-
it a
Book 'em.
We'll
Get
shoot
'em
for the
booked.
middle of the month. Are there any Mondays off in January?
week.
Is the
Is Martin
17th
Luther-
off?
Martin
Yeah.
Luther King, is that January?
Yes, it is. And so you have coffee talk tentatively scheduled for that, the 20th. That might be nice. For
Yes,
them to come to a coffee talk,
yep,
Huh, that might
There
be
you
good.
go.
20th?
there you go, plug them in. All right,
Reel them in.
reel them in, so January 20th, and who knows, maybe by then, maybe fingers crossed, it can be like live and in person. Wouldn't that be nice?
Wow, that
All
would
right.
be.
All right, so
Yeah.
details to come on that, but we'll lock them in for the 20th. All right. The garden. So while I was down there over the weekend, sadly, digging up all my leftover garden stuff, I was approached and said that the agricultural committee had reached out to Highway to talk to them about draining the faucets, and they hadn't heard back. And all I promised is that I would ask. Did not promise that they would, did not promise when they would. Deborah Rolfe, who runs the garden and does a fabulous job, understands that it's, Fred's in place and that there's new guy coming on and they're a body short. So she just wanted to make sure that it was kind of on Highway's list to drain the faucets. So I will leave that with you there, Mrs. Narowitz. Chris, did you have any comments on my October article for the item?
No, it looked
Okay.
good.
All right. Would you mind if I added the stuff about coffee talk? Because if I can get it to Jan tonight, then it might hit this week.
The coffee talk for the special
Yeah.
town meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. Not
I'll
the
see if-
January 20th.
No, for that one. So yeah, that one's a little ways off. That'll be the next
Yeah.
one. All right, so I'll see what I can do. And then I wanted to share a little bit about DCAP. So the process for that, I don't know how many folks in Berlin have signed up. So it was my turn today. Let me tell you, the first thing that you need to do is to make sure you can get your well cap off. So
I don't even know if I can find my well.
you know what? We walked over to it, Danielle. She's absolutely lovely and extremely knowledgeable. She walked over and the first thing she said was, "Huh, I've never seen one of those." And I'm like, great. So I couldn't get the cap off. She can't help because of the grant. She can't really touch anything. So
Mhm.
she handed me my bag of collector things for me to go in and gave me very specific instructions on what to do with the water. you
Mhm.
know, to clean it and fill it up to this line, and this one gets no bubbles. So I, you know, did my duty and handed her back the bag with all the samples. She wanted to assure me that in no way, you know, data is going to get out. So they're not going to say, oh, look at the Keith's household. You know what they got in their water? You know, everything is all encrypted for that. So there is no identification of, you know, who has what. It'll be sent off to a database and just put in with information coming back. You know, she had said that any information or anything that she finds when she's finally able to get into the well, took us 2 to take that cap off today. So I have it with a piece of plywood on the front lawn. I know how to bring down the tax values. So she'll come back and take a look inside the well, send me back the results on the water. And then it's really up to the homeowner. If they find this, that, and the other thing, what they decide to do. If they peek inside the well and look at whatever, and they suggest this, that, and the other thing, it's up to the homeowner. So, you know, the DCAT people are in no way the enforcers of you must, therefore, you know, I am telling you, they don't recommend people, they don't give prices on that. It's just purely knowledge as to what's going on. And she asked general questions. You know, is this a working farm? No. You know, do you fertilize? No. How far is the well from the water or from the street? Because she asked about if the towns use salt, you know, when they sand. Does your water smell funny? Does your water taste funny? Is there, you know, bad pressure and air and stuff like that? So it's really just informational. Takes maybe a half hour. So it's great. You know, she's coming back tomorrow. But for those out there who have signed up for it that might be a little bit hesitant, don't worry. It's an easy process. If I can figure it out, everybody else in the town can figure it out.
How many have they gotten to sign up? Do you know?
I think it's full. I think there's actually a wait list. After Margaret did her a few meetings ago of, hey, come on and sign up, which is what convinced me to do it. I think Danielle had written back and said that it was full and there was 10, 12 on the wait list.
Wow.
Yep. So she's circling around Berlin. She loves our little
What was
town.
the number that they wanted? 40?
I think so.
Okay.
Yep. So she's all good. You know, they're not the PFAS ones. They're just, hey, what's living inside your well?
Yeah.
So personally, I'm hoping for a tub of gold doubloons that are down there somewhere that I can reach in and get. But no, so it's all good. So fear not the process and look forward to the information that comes back from that. All right, so just wanted to share. Okay. All right, I got nothing else. There are all my questions. Chris, you got anything else?
No, I don't.
All right, Margaret, you got anything?
No, I don't think so.
Well, Margaret,
No.
just let me know if there's anything I can do when you talk with MRI. If you need anything.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely, yes. They're going to be doing phone interviews with the candidates as a first step, and I'm going to see if they will allow a couple of, a couple local individuals here to be able to sit in and listen in on the interviews. I think that would be helpful.
Do
And
we have any? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
How are the numbers being brought down?
So,
Not interviewing 21 people.
No. In fact, there were only 17 listed in the rankings. So between all of the rankings in the compiled rankings, there were only 17 names that were mentioned once or more. So that was 17. And I have, there were a group of 7 that were significantly above others. So we'll be talking about that tomorrow to see what kind of number we want to start with.
Okay.
Do you have a time frame? I mean, where Tom is leaving in a couple
Yeah,
of
we're
weeks.
going to have.
You probably do an interim one.
We're going to have to do an acting. We're going to have to do an acting for a short period of time, but I will talk with them tomorrow about that as well to see how quickly we can move on the assessment centers.
Okay.
And get the candidates, get finalists before the board.
Okay.
All right. Do you have an idea-ish of timing, or is it really based on everybody's schedule?
It's right now it's a guess because, and I have made it known to MRI that we have to move on this. But my guess would be November 8th is the town meeting. I would say by November 15th, I would hope. We'll try to set that as a target.
Okay. All right, but obviously subject to change because, well, life happens. Okay. All right, well, given I think we're good, Chris, any more questions?
No.
All right.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn, second. Don't I? Look, I got my tea. See, there you go. I'm good to go. Good to go, got my tea.
Is that the Vikings?
It is. I am a Minnesota Viking fan.
You're a Minnesota Vikings fan?
I am born and raised here, but you know what? How can you not love a team that is called the Purple People Eaters? See, and then here's the other side of the mug. See, so we
No,
are
that's
all-
very nice. Yes, it's
Yes.
the contrast. Love
It
it.
is. So we are all good. All right, motion to second, Stone Eye.
Keith, aye.
All righty, stay safe.
All right.
We'll see you in a week.